Welcome back. Record turnout during Tuesday's election, far surpassing expectations. Our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com, saying turnout topped 1.8 million voters. That's more than 39% of the state's voting age population. To put that in perspective for you, in the past 2 decades, the only state Supreme Court race that surpassed that turnout was in 2016, with both Democratic and Republican presidential primaries on the ballot. Matt?
Charles Franklin, director of the Marquette Law School poll. Charles, like always, good to see you. Let's begin with some of your biggest takeaways as you look at the map and start really digesting these numbers.
Well, you have to start with the turnout. A phenomenal turnout, second highest in history, including when we had 2 presidential primaries, blowing way past the previous record for non-presidential primary days.
Record spending for a judicial race in the country ever. WisPolitics estimating some $46 million. Does that help turnout?
Oh, it certainly does. These are low-key elections in a normal year with less than 1 million turnout typically. In fact, often 800 or 900,000. So this is a lot bigger turnout. But I think it wouldn't be there if voters weren't already concerned about the issues and if the court wasn't posing a salient issue for them.
Let's look at the map a little bit. The Bow counties, Brown, Outagamie, Winnebago, Daniel Kelly really underperformed in those counties.
All 3 of them gave a majority of the vote to Protasiewicz. They typically vote between 42 and 48% for the Liberal candidate. So you can see that was a significant 5 to 8 point improvement over what typical performance has been in the past. Those counties are trending a little bit in the Democratic direction, but not as much as the WOW counties have trended in recent years.
Let's talk about the WOW counties, Waukesha, Ozaukee, Washington counties. What is happening post-Trump with these counties? Kelly won, but not by the margins that Republicans need or have felt comfortable with.
And the Republican or conservative margins in those counties have been going down steadily by a few points each election. But it's not unique to one race or one personality. We've seen it in the governor's races since 2010, the Senate races since 2010, the Supreme Court races, and the presidential races. So this is something that is a shift. I think part of it is some changing demographics in the WOW counties, but I think more of it is the changing nature of Republican appeals and how some of their current issues are not as appealing in suburban counties.
We have to talk about Dane County for a second. This is now the powerhouse that Democrats count on. Turnout in that county, by all accounts, was incredible Tuesday.
It is, and it's a powerhouse in a couple of ways. First, it's been the fastest growing county in the state for well over a decade. Second, turnout has been going up, turnout rates, even as the county grows. And then finally, you get incredibly lopsided margins. Protasiewicz won about 82% of the vote, 154,000 more votes than Kelly got out of that one county alone, and just over 60% of registered voters voted. In contrast, it's about 45% turnout in Milwaukee County. So you see Dane, which is smaller than Milwaukee, casting more votes, casting vastly more net votes for the Democrat or Liberal candidate. And it used to be that the 3 WOW counties together outvoted Dane. Now Dane is outvoting the WOW counties by 2 to 1.
And to that, Republicans need to look to the west, to the northwest, to the central part of the state. What stuck out to you about what we saw there Tuesday?
I think the most important thing is to realize that in the Supreme Court race, Protasiewicz won the Southwest. That's a bunch of rural agricultural counties. She also won counties going up the Mississippi River and in a little bit up towards St. Croix County, which she did not win, but up into that area, as well as getting the Fox Valley, the Bow counties. Yep. So that's a more diverse set of counties than we saw in the governor's race or the Senate race last time.
As we look to 2024, we have a U.S. Senate race, we have a presidential race. What can we take from these results to predict, if anything, what's going to happen in 2024?
Yeah, it'll be wild. Can we say that much? Yeah. I think turnout is likely to just keep going. We've seen our state always near the high end of the turnout charts. I think that'll continue. I think in terms of who wins, that's very much a matter of who the candidates are, what the issues are by 2024. What we saw Tammy Baldwin do in her previous race was make similar kinds of inroads, winning in the bow counties, winning in the West, taking some of those more rural, central, and northern Wisconsin counties. Open question is, can she do that again? And a lot would depend on who her opponent is and where they're from.
Charles Franklin, director of the Marquette Law School poll. Charles, like always, good to have you.
Good to be here. Thanks.
As for Senator Baldwin, Matt, she told you on Thursday that she'll officially announce this week whether she's running for re-election.
There's a lot of tea leaves being discussed about what this means for 2024, just a year ahead. Are you going to run for re-election?
I will have an announcement next week, you know, obviously with the excitement of this race and the momentum from last Tuesday's race, it shows that there's a lot more work to be done.
Can we assume that's a yes?
I will be having an announcement coming up. I'm not going to make it right here, right now.
Up next, the impeachment talk.